This is Hannibal here from SWEFury.com, as well as James Beard, the matchmaker for SWE Fury, legendary official. And today, as the special guest here on the SWE Fury podcast, we have none other than former Impact Wrestling star, former FCW, WWE star, and of course, in Canada, you were the Canadian champion and the heavyweight champion, Great North Wrestling, the son of Jerry Brisco, the nephew of Jack Brisco. Wes Brisco, how are you doing today, sir?
Dude, I'm doing awesome, man. Can't complain. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day here in Florida, and there's no complaints over here.
You're kind of used to these podcasts. I know you used to. Are you still doing one? You did one for a long time there.
Yeah, we're still doing the Brisco and Big A show. We've been
Cool.
going strong. I think we're in 3 years now. I finally got my first check for doing it.
Cool.
I almost gave up. I was like, man, we're never gonna get paid for this. But finally, that goes to show you hard work eventually pays off. Because right when I was about to quit, Big Ace calls me up and goes, guess what? We finally got our first check. And then now, but yeah, we're still going strong with the podcast. And yeah, I'm used to talking, so I'm not very shy.
Well, a lot of things come natural for you, I guess. You know, being that legacy that you're following, with your dad, your uncle. I mean, those are two guys that I have so much respect for, and you know, I loved Jack. He was an incredible guy, and one of the greatest NWA champions of all time. And your dad, I can't tell you how much I love that guy. He's just a wonderful person, and has helped so many people.
Yeah, and that's the coolest thing is always hearing about my dad is how many people he's helped and how many people respect him. There's not too many people that don't respect him. And it's because my dad's taught me and I kind of live by what my dad and my uncle live by is always being honest and always telling the truth and being 100% honest with no matter who you're talking with and also treating everybody with the same respect as you would like to be treated because you never know who you might be talking to. So you always treat everybody with respect. And, you know, especially growing up with my uncle, him being, you know, NCAA champion, him being an NWA heavyweight champion. I mean, there's so many legacies that he's brought that I got to withstand and hold. And, you know, I try to do my best.
Well, you do a good job of it, and you know I've been around a lot of second generation, third generation guys and gals over the years, and I, you know it can't be easy. There's got to be a kind of a burden that you have to carry there for just being who you are. And was it tough on you? Was it harder on you? You think maybe than it might have been somebody else?
Yeah, it was tough, but you know, I grew up from doing amateur wrestling to boxing to, you know, having two different black belts to from extreme sports. So, you know, I was always used to competition. I was always like, you know what? Bring it. Because I know that my work ethic is going to outwork everybody else. So no matter what anybody says, I know as long as I work 100% hard and give it and everything I got, no one can take anything away from me.
Well, I know your dad wasn't easy on you. You know, I remember a couple of years ago when at the Thez Tragos Hall of Fame, and you were wrestling there, and I happened to, your dad asked me to be one of the judges, and you know he was right on you, you know, about a couple of things, you know, but I was sitting there thinking, man, I thought Wes was great, you know, and he was picking it apart, but you know he's usually right.
Oh man, my dad's always right, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to wrestling. I mean, with someone like my dad and his knowledge, I mean, my fiance, she goes to him nonstop about knowledge and just information about the business. And he watches all of her matches and he watches everything. He listens to all my podcasts. He does, even though he won't say it, but he does. And then he'll always bring up something and be like, and everything he brings up, no matter what I think, is always right because I'll go back and look at it or listen to it and realize, you know what, Pops was right. He was, you know. So after a while, I just now I agree with him. I'm like, yes, sir.
Yeah, just yes, sir, and go on and do it that way. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. He is one of the most knowledgeable guys that I've ever been around, and such a wonderful person. I can't say enough about your dad. Uh, I've been I'll be honest with you. I've been pushing to get Wes Brisco in the SWE for quite a while now, and finally we made connection. Finally we got you going. What do you think about coming? Have you heard about SWE? What we've been doing? What's your thoughts about coming in to compete in SWE Fury?
Well, first, everybody's heard of you guys. I mean, you guys are huge. And second of all, what a roster you guys have. I mean, just the talent alone on your roster speaks for itself. And then, you mix a little bit of Wes Brisco in there, it's going to be awesome. But yeah, I'm so excited to be a part of SWE, and I'm just excited to come back to Texas and kick some ass. I feel like Texas needs, a good old boy to come down there and put some ass whooping down there. So I'm looking forward to it.
I think you're going to be a perfect fit for us because it's all about the competition, and I know that you're a competitor, and I know that you respect the traditions of our business, and that's really what we're trying to get back to. We're trying to get back to the wrestling that people can buy into and believe in and trust and feel something for instead of just react to things.
Yeah, well, first of all, whenever I get in the ring, it's 100%. I give it my all. There is no holding back. I was always raised there is no holding back. I go 100% no matter what. When you get in the ring with me, you tell me if it's real or not. Because better believe it, I bring the pain, I bring the hurt. I've been doing this a long time, and all I ask for is respect. And a lot of people don't respect me. So I'm going to come down there, SWE. I'm going to show the world and the rest of the talent there what's up with Wes Brisco.
Well, I'm looking forward to that because I believe, like I said, I think you're going to be a perfect fit for us. And I'll make your dad one promise: we're not going to be easy on you. We're going to give you some competition, but I know you're up to it.
Well, I mean, that's the coolest thing, and that's why I wanted to be a part of you guys is the competition. The level of talent that you guys have on the roster is incredible. So there is nothing but competition everywhere I look. So that's one of the reasons why I signed this because there's a lot of hard competition, and I'm looking to prove myself and to prove to everybody why my last name's a Brisco.
Absolutely, that's great, and we've been pretty lucky here. We've got some other second generation folks, that are competing in SWE or are part of SWE. We've got a Von Erich. Lacey Von Erich is part of our promotion. She's taking care of a lot of publicity for us and that sort of thing. Not competing in the ring, but she's there. Miranda Gordy, Carrie Gordy's daughter, is competing with us. Uh, Roddy Piper's daughter is actually managing at SWE, and Davy Boy Smith has competed in SWE. So we respect our history here too, and the legacies.
Like David Boy Smith, I got nothing but respect for him, but he also didn't beat Olympic gold medalists. I beat Olympic gold medalists in a steel cage match on pay-per-view. So
Oh wow.
yes, a lot of them have credibility, but I have real credibility. Yes, David Boy Smith, he's a stud. I give him that. He's 100% one of the toughest people I've met. But then again, he has not beat Olympic gold medalist like I have.
Give us a little bit of your background, Wes. I mean, I know that. Oh, no, there you go.
Just got
Go
to
ahead.
interrupt
Go ahead.
for 1 second. Is he going to get a trailer like Big Cass? Because I think Wes deserves his own trailer.
What?
Oh no!
Big
Here
Cass
we go.
No, I don't need. I want to be with the boys. What you talking about? I don't want no my own.
Well, let me give you a couple of weeks ago we had Kaz, or Kaz XL now is what he's called, and evidently my buddy here, and he have had a history of adversity, and he kind of resented the fact that Kaz was given a trailer to dress in, and we actually, what happened is we kept him a secret. He came out at the end, nobody knew it, and I think Hannibal kind of resents that a little bit, but but that's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is what it is. I mean, I'm old school like Hannibal, so I change with the boys. The only thing I ever ask for is Fly Delta, just because it just cool for me. That's the
You
only
gotta get those miles, right?
my only really thing that I ever really asked for. But other than that, I don't. I'm with the boys. I'll even help take down the ring. I don't care. That's just who I am. That's the person that my parents, my my dad, and of course my uncle Jack bred into me. Hard work, do whatever it takes to let the show keep going. And I'm no prima donna. I'm nothing like that. I'm a good old boy. I come from the bottom and worked my way up to the top. So that's how I stand.
You should have been born in Texas then. I guess were you born in Oklahoma? I know your family's Oklahoma, but
My family's Oklahoma. I'm a good old Florida boy. I'm from
I
Florida.
got you. Yeah,
I
yeah. I
got
knew you've been there a long time.
all day long. I open the
Yeah,
door, say yes, ma'am, yes, sir.
yeah. No, my old buddy JBL and your dad have a long running history about the Texas Oklahoma rivalry, and it becomes quite fun. Yeah, it gets pretty crazy sometimes.
Yeah, that rivalry, especially with JBL. I mean, my dad will. It's funny. He always shoots on JBL, and he says he always screams like a little girl every time I grab a hold of him. So it's pretty funny to hear them bicker back and forth. And of course, they're doing their podcast now, and I believe they just had Steve Kern on there, so that's
Yeah.
cool. And it's just cool to see all the things that my dad is doing at his retirement with his podcast, with doing stand-up comedy with McFoley. There's just so many things that my dad's keeping himself busy, and I think that's awesome too.
Well, he's got so many great stories. I mean, my goodness, the history of the family, the Briscoes, going all the way back to the collegiate days when they were great amateurs, and were national champions, and then of course the professional career of both of them. Your dad, we keep talking about Jack being the NWA world champion. Your dad was actually an NWA world champion as well, as a tag team partner and as a junior heavyweight.
Yeah, as junior heavyweight, and then as tag team, and then he was also he won a lot of titles. Of course, he was hardcore title, and then he just recently, what, 3 years ago, won the 24/7 title.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
He stays current. He keeps winning titles left and right. That's just how my dad does it, though.
Hey, he's a lot of fun, man. I tell you, I love being around your dad. He is a blast.
Yeah,
Uh,
he brings
yeah, yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but he
No,
brings a lot of good positivity, and that's something that he inspires me today, because you never know when tomorrow might be your last. So you got to enjoy every single moment that you live now, and just enjoy everything, and let go of anything negative, and just be positive, and stay strong, because at the time that we're in right now, all we need is positive stuff. We don't
that
need negativity.
100% agree. And you're right. Your dad has a knack for being very honest and truthful and straightforward, but it's still at the same time being very kind and helpful in the way he goes about telling you the truth sometimes,
Oh yeah,
if you know what I mean.
he's busted my nose before once in the ring. So I respect wrestling a lot.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do. So where did you start? Did you start in Florida? That was your beginnings?
Yeah, I started in Florida, and I actually started at Steve Kern's place before
Okay.
FCW, long, long time ago, and then I kind of went another route. I kind of got the opportunity to become a professional wakeboarder and travel the world and be a, professional wakeboards, basically extreme sports. It's like snowboarding behind a boat. And I got the opportunity to turn pro and get to travel the world. So my dad was like, "Hey, this is once in a lifetime opportunity. I would go for it." So, I kind of separated myself, which I think I kind of needed to kind of build up my own identity and my own character. So I went off and did the pro wakeboarding. And then somewhere around the age of 24, I started getting that itch. And I remember hanging out with my uncle and talking with my uncle. And my uncle's like, "Boy, when you going to get in the ring?" And I was like, "Man, I've been thinking about it." And he's like, "This is no joke." And then, of course, he gives me the talk. And of course, I think when he gives me the talk, it motivated me even more to be like, "Wait, so you think I can't do it? Like, is this you saying So of course, me being a stubborn kid, I'm like, all right, we'll see. So then, of course, I asked my dad, and he's like, well, if you're 100%, why don't you just go, do some local wrestling training? So I went with Steve Kern, did some stuff, came back, did some wakeboarding, and then WWE ended up calling me and asked me if I'd like to go train. So of course, I jumped on that and got to get trained by Dusty Rhodes, Norman Smiley, Dr. Tom Pritchard, and of course Steve Kern, some of the best coaches in the whole entire world.
Absolutely.
Wrestlers like Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, all these great superstars there. Of course, they were training too. So I got to come up with that generation, and that's why I have that kind of hard style, tough style wrestling, is because all those guys were that style of wrestling.
Well, did you feel? And I know you didn't spend a lot of time in WWE, but did you feel like that wasn't a great fit for you for some reason, or was it just something you just want to do something different, or what?
Well, I was signed there for 5 years, and at the time,
Okay.
me and Xavier Woods were tag team champions, and we just got the call to go, and we were going to go invade a pay-per-view loop, and then we were on TV for the next 2 months straight. We had all the itinerary. I went and bought 3 new suits. I was completely ready. And then the match before, we had to like drop the title. Actually, no, we didn't drop the titles. We kept the titles. But the match before I left, me and Xavier Woods left to go on the road, I ended up blowing my knee. So I tore my ACL, PCL, MCL, and I was out over a year and a half. And then when I finally came back, they were like, hey, we really don't have anything for you, this and that. And I was just like, all right, I see the writing on the walls. So then I moved to Puerto Rico, got my skills up, started wrestling in Puerto Rico. I lived in Puerto Rico, and then got the call from TNA, and then went to TNA and did Impact. And then from there, I went to New Japan. Then I spent some time in London and the UK. I did, I believe, 4 months in the UK, going to Ireland, England. So I've been traveling all around the world, and just South Africa, and just gaining all those skills and all that knowledge from wrestling, all those different people and all those different styles of wrestling. And I'm just building into one massive, just Powerball, ready for some action.
Did you happen to see the Xavier Woods video with Paige, by the way? I just got to ask you, since you were tag team partners with him, what your thoughts are on that.
No, I didn't see that. I heard about it, but I didn't. I don't really like to see other guys naked, so it's not. It doesn't really float my boat, so I kind of don't really watch it.
There's a fan on here, Jefferson E. White, that wants to know if you prefer tag teams or single competition. Obviously, you've been successful at both.
Singles. I guess maybe because I'm kind of like jealous, so I always want I want the win. I want to do all the work. I want to be in the ring. Like, I'm kind of like, I don't like sitting on the sidelines. Like, I'm always the person that's like, put me in, coach. I mean, I'll do whatever it takes, but I prefer singles. I just, because it goes to, I have no one else to blame but myself. So if I mess up, I can't blame my partner. I can't blame anybody else. I can only blame me. And that's why I prefer singles, is because, I'm not my hardest critic. And if I have another person, then I don't want to be hard on them and say some stuff that but I love tag teaming. So don't get me wrong. Tag teaming is one of my favorite styles of wrestling. And it's one of my favorite things to watch, because I love when you see a great tag team and they have good chemistry. Me and Xavier Woods had great chemistry. Me and Jesse Swanson had great chemistry. Me and Garrett Bischoff had good chemistry. So we all had chemistry, so it worked really well and it was fun, but I prefer singles.
I think part of the problem right now is that there's not a lot of real established tag teams. They're like just throwing a couple of guys together and they call it a tag team, but that's not really what I always traditionally thought of as a tag team division, is guys that were working together regularly. And like the old days, the Road Warriors, the Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, all those guys, those were tag teams.
Steamboat and Jay Youngblood.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what I said. I love the art form of tag teaming, but like you said, I don't feel like they have enough tag teams where they just throw guys together and they don't put them together long enough to build that chemistry where you don't even have to know what your partner, you're already thinking what he's thinking. And me and Xavier Woods was that way. I mean, me and Xavier Woods, we didn't have to say anything to each other because we were just always on the same mind path. And it was really cool tagging with him. I learned so much from him. He really helped me out a lot. And of course, I've learned a lot from all my tag partners. And, I would be in a tag again, but I would want to make sure I'm with the right tag partner. And, there's a lot going into it. So I don't know.
I think another thing that's hurt the tag team perception is the same thing that's hurt singles. Really, is the fact that there's a lack of rules and there's no um, consistency in that, because if you don't have that, you really can't be effective either way, and something to work with and work around.
Yeah, the rules now in some of the programming's been kind of fishy. I kind of don't like it because one match, yes, they follow the rules, and the next they don't. So as
Right.
a fan, and even as a worker, you get kind of confused. And then I feel like that starts building laziness. And because I was always brought up, respect the referee, listen to the referee. I mean, that's just what I've always been raised at. And a lot of guys, I feel like, don't respect the referee and don't use the referee in the right times and the right moments, and that's lacking on them. And maybe that's just them being lazy, or maybe that's them of lack of knowledge. I don't know.
Well, that of course that's one of my pet peeves. Being my background is as a referee, and that's what I see. I see a lack of rules and consistency in rules, and for me that takes away from the whole perception of a match. Because you can't get heat without rules. And babyface can't get sympathy without rules. So you take that away, and what have you got? You just got chaos, and basically that's what I see on TV these days is chaos. I just see a bunch of things going on, a lot of motion and all, but nothing makes sense.
Yeah, and that's the reason why a lot of the matches don't do as good or don't seem as well as, or people don't get into it as much, is because the rules and respecting the referee has been totally thrown out. Well, excuse me. So, like you said, it's just pure chaos. And when there's just pure chaos, it's hard as a fan. You get lost sometimes because you can't really see the story that the athletes are trying to paint. And that's a hard thing.
Yeah, I think you hit on the thing that hurts the worst is the fact that the fans are confused. They don't know from one match to the next. They can't trust it. That was what got me over as a referee, is the fact that the fans trusted me. They knew I was going to at least try to apply the rules and enforce the rules, and they understood that, and they understood what the rules were. And now, they have no idea.
Oh, yeah. And then you'll see a tag team, like we'll go back to tag team wrestling, do a tag, but yet they'll go in there and they're both hit like three or four finishes. And you're
Yeah,
like, what are you doing? You've been in the ring for like 2 minutes. And then they get out, and then it's like, you just hit all those crazy moves. And then, too, you didn't even beat the guy. So it's like your moves don't mean nothing if you're not beating the guy or even putting them down. So what's the point of even doing it? But
yeah. It's basically the psychology these days is very much just how many finishes can you kick out of.
yeah, and when people try to do that, I put them in a real amateur move or a shoot hold, and they don't go
There
nowhere.
you go. There you go. That's what I want to see here in SWE Fury, my friend.
Oh man, come on, look at these ears, boy.
You heard me. You heard it from the horse's mouth. You heard me.
Yeah.
Well, I think you'd see some amateur if you had Wes in there against Charlie Haas, who is now the SWE World Champion. I'm actually going to the Texas Rangers game with Charlie tonight versus Toronto. But
Oh
Wes,
my God.
there's a fan on here that wants to know. I mean, Charlie Haas has the world title, Blood Hunter has the Texas title, Rodney Mack has the TV title. Do you have your set sight on anything in particular?
Man, I have some ideas, but if I tell you guys, then you won't tune in. So you guys are just gonna have to tune in to the pay-per-view and check it out because there's a lot that I have in store.
Well, you know, one of the last things I tell guys when we have our meeting before the matches start in TV is there's no rule against wrestling. So, and that's one of the reasons I'm excited about bringing you in, because I know you don't have an aversion to wrestling a little bit.
Oh no, not at all. And especially if
Yeah,
guys want to jump around, flip around, I'll snatch them right out of the air and put them in a
there
hold.
you go. There you go. I've got me a hero now.
There's a fan on here, Nate, that wants to know Wes's thoughts on Mark Henry joining SWE. There was a video put out with Mark Henry and Teddy Long last week saying he's going to be part of the office now, overseeing what's going on in SWE.
I mean, I think Mark Henry is a great asset for SWE. I mean, Mark Henry's knowledge and just the years that he's been around professional wrestling and the respect. And we always go back to respect. He has so much respect in the wrestling business, from all the wrestlers to TV guys to outside endorsements. He is the man. I mean, he was on the Olympics. I mean, you can't get much greater than that. So having Mark Henry aboard is nothing but good news. I'm excited, and he will make sure that we wrestle real wrestling. There won't be no phony whatever you dancing, choreographed stuff. No, Mark Henry ain't about that. Mark Henry's like me. We want old school. We want tough. Trust me, we'll throw some new school in there. Trust me, I do. But when it comes down to it, it's hard hitting. It's gonna be tapping out. It's gonna be some crazy, crazy stuff.
You know, as a guy who was actually starting with this company, when this company started out, uh, I was basically the only guy in the office that, as far as the wrestling part of it was concerned. And since that time, of course, Teddy Long called us and he joined us, and you know Teddy. And then later on, Kevin Sullivan joined us, and I think you probably know Kevin pretty well from that Florida
Well,
group
I
down
know
there,
for many
some of
years.
the smartest guys around, you know. And so, you know, the first several months of this SWE experience, it was about I was basically the one that was doing all the putting together and that kind of thing, and that was fun. But once I got these other guys involved too. It became so much easier and so much more creative, and the juices are flowing, and now we've got Mark Henry involved in it, and you know, I'm excited because you know it's just more ideas, more ways of doing things that makes everybody look better.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have. I mean, if you look at Vince McMahon back in the day, he'd had my dad, Pat Patterson, Jim Ross, Sergeant Slaughter, all of them a tight knit group. And with
Yep.
all those minds of great wrestling, that's how we put on so much good product, because those guys would bounce ideas off of each other and wouldn't be
Yeah.
scared to bounce ideas and say, no, that idea sucks. Because Vince respected Pat Patterson. Vince respected my dad. He respected Jim Ross. So that tight group of people, and you guys having that tight group of people, from Mark Henry to Teddy Long to Kevin Sullivan, really, and yourself, James, bring in a good wealth of knowledge to the younger talent, and just so many great minds, because you guys have seen so many great matches and been involved with so many great matches that you guys, remember this idea, and you can,
Yeah.
hang it off each
Yeah.
other. So I think that's nothing but good news for SWE.
And it is a matter of respect, you know. That's the one thing that I've really enjoyed about this process and about the experience, because all of us seem to have a kind of a same mindset as far as the philosophy of the business goes, and the respect for the traditions. But we all respect each other, and it's such an easy work atmosphere when you're working with guys that respect each other. And it means so much. And this business is all about that. Just like you said earlier, that it's from the behind the scenes to the ring itself. That's the most important aspect of the whole business.
Yes, definitely. And so I think you guys have a great group, and I'm so excited to be a part of you guys, and I can't wait.
You know, if I'm not mistaken, you and my host here, Hannibal, have a little bit of a history as well, do you not?
Yes, me and Hannibal have definitely had some battles. He's one of the toughest opponents ever. I mean, me and him have almost started riots in Canada. We've done some crazy stuff because Hannibal doesn't hold back, and neither do I. And when you put two bulls in the ring together, you know it's going to be chaos.
Well, you got two athletes who both of you have an amateur background, and it's got to be good. You know, it's a shame Hannibal is not wrestling anymore. I guess uh, it's a little
Yeah,
safer
and if
behind the mic.
opponents like him, boy, I'm glad I'm not wrestling anymore. There's a fan on here asking, what's the bloodiest match Wes has ever seen? Well,
One of
one of the bloodiest ones is you bloodying me up that time. But you know what? We've fought enough over the years that I actually have respect for him, and I'm over it. We've traded victories back and forth, and he's not someone I want to mess with. I'll let him go on and take on the Charlie Hosses of the world, or maybe he'll teach Big Cass a lesson, because I don't think Big Cass has any.
Here we go again. Cass is going to have a rough time, boy, let me tell you. Wasn't there one of your matches with Hannibal that was something like, I don't remember, a million views or something like that? It was a bunch of.
Yeah, every time me and Hannibal always lock up, there's eyes on it. It's mainly because people know about Hannibal and people know about me. So, like I said, when you put two people in the ring that are known to go, and I mean go, like I'm not talking about no pass bys. I'm talking about go, like not be scared to, really fight if we have to, because we both respect each other. We both, truly respect each other, and I got nothing but respect and love for Hannibal. But then again, he feels the same way. When that bell rings, all that goes away.
That's something a lot of people don't understand about this business, is that the fact that some guys who you think would just absolutely hate each other, and they do compete against each other the same way you're talking about, but yet outside the ring, there's a respect there, and sometimes even friendship.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's friendship, but like then again, once that bell rings, there is no more.
Yeah, yeah.
You step in the ring with me, or you step in the ring with Hannibal, I'll tell you for a fact, when that bell rings, I don't care if we're friends, I don't care if we're cool backstage. When that bell rings, you better be ready, because I'm coming 110%, and I ain't stopping till my hand is raised.
And that's what we want to see.
And I see what happens when people don't show you respect in the ring, because there was an incident, 2 or 3 years ago, where you almost got into it behind the scenes with somebody in Canada that didn't really show you the proper respect. It could have been bad.
Well, let's hear that story. I mean, that's what this is all about. Let's hear the story. What happened here?
I mean, it was. I mean, I'm friends with him, cool with the guy now. I'm not gonna throw out no names, but I will throw out a name after this. But he's really, really big dude. I mean, a dude that people wouldn't probably mess with. I mean, a guy that's 6'2", 6'3", probably 300 something plus, strong man, whatever. I don't care, whatever. But he didn't show me the respect afterwards, which I fully showed him respect, and he kind of just, excuse my language, but shitted on me. And to a point where I was like, all right, that's how you want to do? All right. So I waited for him to come back, and I respectfully said, hey, let's go outside and let's handle this like men. Like, I ain't scared. Like, let's do this. Of course, he didn't want to. And I was like, are you sure? Because out there, you're talking this big talk, but back here, you're acting like a little, you're acting like a little bitch. And of course, he didn't want to fight. And then, of course, we got over. And then I explained to him the reason why I was upset. And once I, explained it to him, then he felt really bad, because then he realized that he was fully being disrespectful. And he realized that I'm not going to play no games. Second, well, there's been multiple times, but this is a big one. Sandman. I was at a show with Sandman, and he was just drunk and just completely just degrading the talent, saying they sucked, and like talent was really upset, and these kids don't. I mean, they were really working hard, and finally, I had enough of it. I was just like, you know what? you suck. You're nothing but a gimmick wrestler. Like, da, da, da. And then he got up and got in my face. And I was like, oh, here we go. I was like, yeah. So I got on his face and I was like, what's up? And I just started, you know, don't disrespect our talent. Da, 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 da. Who do you think you are? And he started like getting angry. And I was like, what? You want to fight? I go, I'll be more than happy to fight you here, outside, in front of everybody. I don't care, bathroom, wherever it's at. Let's do this because I don't appreciate you disrespecting everybody. And you think you're a legend. These kids look up to you and you're drunk, smoking a cigarette, thinking you're a tough guy. Man, I don't play that tough guy stuff. You can say whatever. Let's do this. I'll go where there's no cameras. I'll go where there is cameras. I don't care. Let's fight. Then he decided not to. So I finally go, I go, hey, either I'm going to go over my match with Shane Douglas or me and you are going to fight. What do you want to do? Obviously, he didn't do nothing. I went to Shane. We had a great match, tore the house down. We were main event, and the story leaves on. But you know, he didn't want none. A lot of people talk a lot, but when it comes down to like being ready, they always back down. Because I'm the first person to be like, I don't talk. Either I'm gonna fight you, or that's it. Like there is no room to be barking. Nah, it's either let's do this or nah.
Yeah, respect thing goes both ways, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Definitely goes both ways because I'm the nicest person in the world, but you disrespect me or disrespect my friends or people that are hard working. You don't even have to be my friend. You could be someone stranger off the street. I'm not going to allow someone disrespect or bully people. That's the main thing. I'm not going to let you bully nobody. I don't care who you are. You're not going to bully nobody, especially when I'm around. Because if you bully someone, guess what? I will step to any bully. I ain't scared of nobody. I might lose, but guess what? At least I know I died fighting. You know, like you don't ever win every battle, but at least I walk away with pride knowing that I did something, that I tried. Because that's one thing that I never wanted to live with regrets saying that I didn't try.
Amen.
Now, you mentioned you're engaged. Congratulations on your engagement to your beautiful fiance, who's one of the big stars of AEW. I think she's on her way to the tapings right now.
She just left the house.
Has there been any talk with you in AEW? And what are your thoughts on her success?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about her success. I mean, watching her from starting from the bottom and working her way all the way up to the top and earning her a contract, earning her where she's making some good money, paying the bills, and I'm just so excited for her because she's really passionate about the business and she loves wrestling to the fullest. She watches every match, she studies, and she's such a hard worker, and I've seen her work two jobs just to chase her career. And for her to work two jobs and still go to wrestling practice and still do all that, that really shows you the hard work and determination that she has to really become a top superstar. And she wants to only do it by showing everybody her hard work. And that's why every time she grabs a promo, she knocks out the park. Every time she wrestles, she knocks out the park. And I'm proud to, say that she's my fiance. She's my better half. And yes, AEW has talked to me, but right now I'm focused on SWE. I mean, that's my focus. Yes, AEW has contacted me, and there might be, but right now my main focus is SWE. So I can't think about other side projects. I got to think about what I'm going for, and you guys are gonna have to tune in and see.
Angel Hernandez has a question for you related to AEW. What are your thoughts on Sting returning to the ring in AEW?
I mean, that's cool. I've wrestled Sting before, so that's okay. I mean, I think it's time for him to kind of stay backstage because I mean that's just my opinion. But he can do whatever he wants. I'm not no one's dad. I don't tell no one what to do because I don't want no one telling me what to do. So if he wants to go wrestle, let him go wrestle. That's his business. So, but I only wish people good luck. So best of luck to him.
Great attitude.
So, where can people follow your podcast, Wes, and where can they follow you on social media if they want to look you up?
Well, you can follow my podcast, The Brisco and Big A Show. We're on the VOC Nation. That's just our audio, but we're also on YouTube. We're also on iTunes, Spotify. We're on every platform that has podcasts. And then we also do a podcast like this where you see each other. And I have guests, And then you can also follow me on Instagram, Wes Brisco 19. That's on Instagram. And then Twitter is Wes Brisco with the blue check. I'm not verified on Instagram, but only on Twitter. That's a shame. You guys need to get on it. Get me verified on Twitter. I mean, on Instagram. But that's pretty much where you can follow me. I don't really do the Facebook thing, but I'm pretty much on Instagram and Twitter. Find me. I mean, I do Facebook, but I have my partner Big Ace really does all my Facebook and Twitter. I'm pretty much just on Instagram, to be honest with all you guys. So if you guys that respond, I don't answer. That's the reason why. I choose not to involve my life with social media as much as possible.
Well, I'm excited that you can start putting the SWE logo by your name now.
Yeah, exactly. And you
Yeah,
guys can follow me at SWE. Watch all their programs because your boy's about to light it up.
good deal.
And there's a lot of matches of Wes's on the Hannibal TV. If you just search Wes Brisco, the Hannibal TV, we've had some big crowds watching our fights over the years, and you've had other opponents up here in Canada where
Yeah,
you've shown your skill.
you, man. Come on now. I mean, let's be honest with you. No one's been as tough as you. You are pretty much the toughest person in Canada, in my eyes. I mean, I've wrestled a lot of people from Canada, and you definitely one of the toughest, or the toughest person. You and probably Davey Boy Smith are probably the two toughest people out of Canada.
Well, I very much appreciate that. And speaking of toughness, could you tell us a little bit about your amateur career? You mentioned that you were an amateur wrestler, but I know you started back when you were a kid, your dad holding you in moves and making you get out, and you had a lot of success before pro wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I was a couple junior titles, a state title, actually two state titles, four-time Western Conference champion, four-time Eastern Conference champion too. Um, I won two junior freestyle tournaments, national freestyle tournaments, my junior and sophomore year. And then, of course, I got a black belt in Taekwondo, and then I also have a black belt in karate. I did Muay Thai for 4 years. I boxed for 15 years. I still every once in a while box now, but it's not like I don't spar with anybody. It's mainly just hand work. I still like to box, but I did boxing for a long time. That was one of my favorite things. And then, of course, I surf, I free dive, I go fishing, offshore fishing. I live life like I'm always constantly outside, just enjoying myself. I don't stay inside very often.
Yeah, I saw one of your spear fishing videos recently. You are living quite a life.
Yeah, man, I'm down there with bull sharks, tiger sharks. That's why I'm not really scared of too many people because I'm around killers all the time, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, I just got back from a trip from Puerto Rico where I was surfing one of the world's biggest waves. It's called Trace Palms, and it was probably around 25 feet to 30 feet. And there's a
Ooh.
razor sharp edge, like the reef down there is razor sharp, and it's probably maybe waist deep, so it's pretty crazy. And then we did some spear fishing where I was holding my breath for over 3.5 minutes and diving down around like 60 feet, 60 to like 70 feet, and then going down there, staying down there for a couple of minutes and shooting the fish and coming back up. And, just basically living life to the fullest, living every day.
I know you're friends with The Undertaker. You've told me some stories about your interactions. Fart Doctor wants to know your thoughts about The Undertaker saying today's wrestlers are soft in his recent Joe Rogan interview.
Well, I mean, he's true. They are. I mean, that's. That's. I've seen guys cry backstage before over nothing, and I'm just like, ugh, people. If you were back in the days, that would eat you alive. But it's a different generation, and then again, that's them. I don't fault nobody for how they were raised or how they were brought up. If that's cool, I mean, that's just them. But I'm not soft. I can prove that to, and he knows that. I know that for a fact. He knows I ain't soft. So
And I don't think he meant it as an insult when he said it. It's just it's a generational thing, really. Even though you're a younger guy, but you were brought up pretty much the way a lot of us older guys were brought up, I think. And there was a toughness back then, that we had to endure, even to be in this business. 7 nights a week on the road, no, it was tough. Just tough.
And two, not only that, the practices is trying to push people out because they're trying to weed out the people that were just going to give up when the times got rough and
Right.
it got long and you had to get jump in the car for 6 hours, no sleep, make it to the next town, work out, and then hit the gym and then be at TV and then do it all over again. You got to weed out those people. You got to see who can really survive the road and see that mental toughness, because there's times when it's not just the wrestling that gets tough. It's the traveling. It's being away from your loved ones, being away from your wife, your fiance, your kids. All that stress adds up to you. All that tension builds up. And there are people that can handle it and people that don't. And those are the people that usually lose it and go to alcohol or booze or whatever else they do. Or there's the people that know how to work through it and realize that, what, it's got to keep working hard. Times will get tough, but guess what? I'm going to go home and I'm going to see my loved ones when I come home. And that's the most important thing.
Jefferson E. White is wondering what the status is of the famous Brisco Brothers body shop that was promoted on WWE TV so much.
Well, they were around for a very long time, but when my uncle passed, my dad decided the best thing to do is to shut it down when my uncle passed, just out of respect for my uncle and he just wanted to kind of shut it down once my uncle passed.
I know you've played a few ribs in your time. The fans always like to hear the rib stories. Is there any you could share with us?
Yeah. So there was one with Heath Slater. He ribbed me first. It was when I first started wrestling. I'm tagging with Heath, and it's against Joe Henning, and I forgot who else was with Joe Henning. Maybe it was one of the Usos, but I was tagging against them, and I'm very, very new to wrestling, and so we of course knew what we were supposed to do, and of course, Heath was going to start up the match, warm it all up, get it going, and of course tag me in, and then once he had the opponent wore down, I'd finally get in because I haven't been wrestling him very long. Well, we start the match, or we get ready to start the match, and Heath goes, "You're in," and jumps down to the apron. I'm like, what? This was not. You're supposed to start. I've never What are you doing? So of course, I freak out, and and of course I had to wrestle, and of course Joe Henning, the guy I'm wrestling against, is just laughing his ass off because he knows that I'm a nervous person. I don't know what to do. I'm like, this is not what's supposed to be going on, but whatever. I'm gonna shoot double leg. What am I doing? And it was just, he got me. He got me good. Because every time I would go to tag in, he would jump down to the apron. So he basically let me do this match all by myself with no experience. It was the shits, but it was funny to them. It was like a house show, so it didn't really matter.
A lot of people don't realize how much fun some of the guys have in the ring, that used to be
with me that night.
Used to be
at my expense that night, and probably the whole locker room, because he probably smarted the whole locker room up. Because even everyone knew, everyone except for me, of course. So then
that's happened to just about every one of us. It's been in this business for any length of time. Somebody's taking advantage of you in some way or the other that they thought was a funny ha-ha,
Yeah. So then we fast forward like 2 or 3 years, and I start getting some steam, and we're on FCW TV, and Heath is getting called up to WWE and go back and forth, and they ask him to wear trunks, and he's always wore long tights, always never wore trunks, and he starts flipping out because he's like, never wore trunks before. We're like, what happens if my junk falls out? And I'm like, oh man, you better be careful. And he's just like freaking out. He's like, doesn't know what, and he's a nervous person too when it comes to like his gear and stuff. So we have a match together, and I get Heath in the move, and I look and I go, hey, your junk's out on TV. And he freaks out. He like looks down and tries to fix, and I'm like, just kidding. And he's like, you asshole. And then, of course, we do the match, go back. Of course, I beat him. And then he comes back and he's like, what did you do? Why did you do that to me? And I was like, I got you back. And he just started laughing, and there was nothing you could do about it.
Return the favor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now you've told me, I mean, everyone knows your whole aces and eights lifestyle with the beer drinking and kind of like the biker gang type thing that you used to do. You're not drinking beer anymore, and you've really gotten into the best shape of your life right now. Is this all your fiance, or was what brought about this change?
Yeah, I'm actually over 1 year now, completely sober. It just got to the point of life where, do I want to live by the bottle or do I want to be a bigger person? And it came to the point where it wasn't my fiance, because then if I did it for her, it wasn't doing it for myself. And for when you want to kick an addiction, or just, I wouldn't say I was addicted, but I could tell that there was going to be a problem if I kept doing what I was doing. So instead of like getting to that level, I decided to nip it in the bud. And it was probably the greatest thing I did, because as soon as I quit, I mean, it was a rough road. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't easy, but of course, nothing in life is easy, especially something that's worth something to you. Is always, you got to pay some hardships to get there. And those hardships is what makes that victory so sweet, is learning from all those hardships, all those mistakes that you made to get to where you're at. And it just became a point where I was like, you know what? There's a lot more to life than partying. Let's change it up. Let's go a different route. And that route has been the best route. I mean, my business has escalated to the fullest, where I'm doing really good for myself. My relationship has gone through the roof. I mean, me and my loved one, me and Red Velvet, we're the best. Like, it's nothing but happiness, and just all my relationships with friends and everybody just improved. So then I looked at it like, you know what? I don't really need this in life, you know? Maybe I'll have a drink or two, maybe one day, but at the moment, it doesn't really entertain me. I got bigger and better goals out there, so that just doesn't seem fun to me anymore.
You know, it's a great thing for me to see guys that I know in a good place. They're happy with themselves and happy with life, and you know, it's nice seeing you there. Really is.
You know, it's really good to, like, it feels like, you know, a good cloud is lifted. I mean, I'm not saying that stuff is bad, but sometimes people don't know when you're getting to that level where, hey, like, you might want to slow down a little bit, because you're going down a path that we've seen other people go. And I didn't want to go. I love that. I love doing everything that I do. So it's, you know, taking the courage and being man to say, you know what? I think it's time to take a break. And once I took a break, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a break for 6 months. I took a break for 6 months, and it was the greatest 6 months ever. So you know what? I was like, I'm going to extend it a couple more months. And then it got to where it was like a holiday, and I was like, you know what? I don't need to. I can still have fun drinking Gatorade and water. Like, I don't need it. So then it came a little bit longer. Then it was like my birthday. Then I was like, why do I need to drink? Like, it's my birthday. I want to enjoy it. I don't need to, like. So then I extended it a little bit farther. And next thing I know, I'm like, man, it's over a year now. And, you know, there's no really looking back. Like, I enjoy loving life and experience life to the fullest. So I think it's the best thing for me. You know, some people like what they like, and, you know, I feel like it's a better thing that I don't.
Well, don't you find you can still do the same things, only do them better, really?
10 times better. I'm
Yeah.
and I'm more focused. I get more done. It's just,
There you go.
yeah, just enjoy life, man. Life's too short to be stuck up, you know, in a bar or wherever, hungover or any of that stuff. Man, life's too short.
Cool.
Now,
I gotta get these gains, son. You know, I gotta get these gains.
yeah, you're looking jacked.
Yeah. Oh wow. Look at him. Looking
What are you
good, my
weighing
friend.
in at?
Yeah.
Are you-
Got them guns. Got them guns.
Oh, I think he even froze his screen doing that, or maybe it's if his screen froze there, that would be the perfect time to freeze. Well,
What a deal.
Well, he's frozen. There's a fan here that wants to know any news on if Shaul Guerrero is going to return. She was supposed to wrestle, but she was having a bit of mental issues and had to pull out of some events, so she didn't end up debuting for SWE.
Well, we certainly hope so. I mean, we're respecting her privacy and the fact that she's dealing with whatever she's dealing with, and we hope that she gets that taken care of. And of course, if that happens, or when that happens, I should say, I'll be positive about it. When that happens, she'll be welcome back to SWE for sure. I like to see people just like we were just talking with Wes there. You know, when they've got something that's going on in their life that's holding them back or hurting them in some way, you know, there's always a way out of it. You know, there's a way to, if you can't do it yourself, there's somebody there that can help you. And we hope that she's getting that help, and we want the best for her, and we want to see her in our company again.
Any news on who Charlie Haas's opponent is going to be for the April 24th event in Irving, Texas?
My understanding is that they're planning on having a Rumble type event earlier in the evening, and whoever wins that will actually end up in the ring with Charlie. I'm not, you know, if I were in that Rumble, I might jump over the rope just to make sure I wasn't the winner. But you know, that's the way that's the way it goes. Whoever wins gets the pleasure of getting in the ring with Charlie Haas, and I know. I know a guy like Wes wouldn't be afraid to do that, but if it were me, I'd probably find me a way out of it.
Boy, I start talking about my gains, and I get off. I get off the internet.
You froze.
It froze with you in the bicep pose.
Yeah. It just froze. Yeah, that was perfect.
Yeah, sorry guys. I think it's
we're almost out of time here, anyways. But I wanted to ask you the big shocking thing in the wrestling world last year was your father parting ways with WWE after all that he did for the company behind the scenes and recruiting guys like Brock Lesnar, Charlie Haas, even, and Shelton Benjamin, just to name a small amount. I'm sure he likes the break probably, but is that something you were shocked by when that happened?
I was, until they gave him a severance package. You can't complain about that. So he has no complaints, and he's actually working more on his why he's retired than he has the whole time. So you know what? It's nothing but beautifulness. Yeah, I was upset at first. Everybody was, but secretly my dad doesn't brag. So my dad's, of course, not going to be like, "Hey, Wes, they took care of me." It's not like they gave me the boot. They take care of their people. So you know, I have no complaints, and he's loving his freedom and to be able to do whatever do. I guess you guys all saw he grew out his sideburns, had those
saw that
Willie Nelson chops going, but yeah, he's just loving life and enjoying being home and just relaxing. So
I'm happy for him that he's getting to do that, and I know that the people in WWE respect him a lot. But you know, the sad part to me is that so many guys with that kind of experience and the knowledge and the way that they are able to guide people are now getting weeded out of the business, and that's something that I think they're going to miss greatly, you know, because your dad helped so many people. I mean, man, I know that for a fact. You know, he was a real blessing to that company.
yeah, but it also gets to the time too where it's his age, his health, where he knows, and he's trained people to take his job, and you don't live forever, and he wants to enjoy. He still goes to FCW, NXT, and he's there. They send a driver for him down in Tampa. He gets in a limo. They take care of him, but he's still there helping out, and he still will help other talent. I mean, he got that big dude Parker sign, the guy that looks like Brock. He's like bigger than Brock. He's like 6'4", 320. He's huge.
I saw some pictures. Yeah.
But he's still really involved, and of course, he helps out my fiance a ton, and he will always, like, if any wrestler hit him up, he'd share his knowledge. So it's not like my dad's gone forever. It's just he reached the time where he just wants to relax, and he deserves it. He's been working his ass off for, I forgot, said like over 40 something years. So it's about time, he gets to sit back and kind of just watch, me and watch his future what's it, sister-in-law or whatever it is, but watch her go out there and
Daughter-in-law.
daughter-in-law.
There you go. Yeah.
Watch her go out there and kick some ass. So, and he enjoys watching her wrestle. Like, it's crazy because they have a good connection where they're calling. I'm like, who are you talking to? She's like, Dad. I'm like, what? And I'm like, you talk to him more than I do. And she's like, well, because I'm wrestling all the time. I'm like, touche, touche.
Well,
She
I'm
might have
very
the
happy.
best abs in wrestling, by the way. She might have the best female abs in wrestling. I haven't seen yours lately, but you were telling me earlier that you might have the best male abs in wrestling.
Or,
Oh, hope it doesn't freeze.
And that's
Look
bad.
at there.
Like, I'm just standing up, like, like
It's an 8-pack.
Yeah. No, I've just been focusing really hard on diet and conditioning and just being in the best shape of my life because I'm getting ready to go to SWE and I'm getting ready to tear the house down. And I got to show everybody what Wes Brisco is all about. So everybody better tune in because I'm coming in hot. I'm coming in ready.
I think that I'm excited about the fact that you're coming here. It means a lot, to me, being a part of this company and seeing it grow the way it has, and knowing what your potential could be for this company and what you could mean for us. I can't wait to see you in action here again. And it's a blessing. I'm telling you, I'm very happy for it.
Yeah, well, I'm blessed to be a part of it, and I can't wait. So everyone that's tuning in, you got to check out because Wes Brisco, boy, he's gonna bring it.